Hello, kids. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. I was not here yesterday. More on that coming up in a couple of minutes. Thank you to Cameron Smith for filling in capably for me from 3 until 7 o'clock. I appreciate him. I appreciate you. I beg your indulgence because I bought a house yesterday. And so I was out as a result of that home purchase. Maybe we'll talk about that at some point today, but we've got lots to get into before we get into that. It is Thursday, January 8, 2026. This is an alert to Jackson Williams. I don't pretend young Jackson, action Jackson, reaction Jackson, Y2J, Willie, truffle butter. I don't pretend that you know who this guy is, but we have a celebrity singer birthday today that I would love it. I would just love it because my mama, my beloved mama, my long passed away mama, loved this singer. And she had a beautiful, and I still have it, and I will be reframing it and putting it up in the basement of my newly purchased home, a beautiful velvet Elvis portrait. And I don't pretend that you necessarily know who Elvis Presley is because you're such a young lad.
I've seen the movie. I've been to Graceland.
I've seen Hey, Ken.
Sorry, I wasn't alive in the
What's
1960s to see him live.
What's up, Weaver? How are you? Ken Weaver's back in there.
Oh, Brother Jackson.
You're a funny dude.
Hey.
I'm just saying
I've
it
done
would.
all I can do on my part to experience a little bit of Elvis.
Well, you know, hey, Elvis was, he was the Taylor Swift of his day, I guess.
Woo, well, yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, Elvis Presley. You know who the first superstar singer to have a private jet was there, Jackson?
Elvis, I'm assuming?
That would be Elvis Presley, yes. And he got one, and then he immediately needed a bigger one. And so Colonel Tom Parker
Spent all his money.
Well, took his first one. You know, they had a contract where Tom Parker. You know how much, Ken, you remember how much Tom Parker got?
I do not remember.
Half.
Good grief.
I mean, it was
terrible,
it was
man.
Awful what Tom Parker did to Elvis Presley. Awful.
Took advantage of a good dude, man.
Yeah, he did. He did. But Elvis, for whatever reason, let him. I mean, I don't know if it was loyalty or whatnot. One way or the other. Point being, anybody want to guess how old Elvis was? He could technically still be alive. Matt might still be alive. Who the hell knows? Might be working at Hardee's.
One of my favorite movies claims he's still alive.
What movie would that be, Ken?
Bubba Hotep.
I still need to see that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you've recommended that to me several times.
You still got to watch Bad Santa.
I do have to watch Bad Santa. We have to crank back up. We're cranking back up the movie reviews. I'm gonna watch Bad Santa before we crank them back up. I just have to get cable at the house, man, or some sort of television watching ability at the new house, and then we'll figure it out.
Tonight is an excellent night of television.
What is happening tonight there, Jackson?
The Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, I don't think I can watch. Is that wrong of me? I don't think I can do it. It just makes my stomach gurgle because we should have beaten those stupid Rebels.
That was a great game.
Shut your pie hole, buddy.
And so then you have...
It was a good game.
Have you ever heard of The Traitors?
The Traitors?
Yes. Reality show.
No, I've not.
It's like a big game of Mafia. Incredible.
Okay.
The Pit on HBO. It's like an ER reboot. And then there's 911 and 911 Nashville back tonight.
Jackson, you know what I love about Jackson, Ken?
What's that?
He is like a 58-year-old woman in a 26-year-old man's body. His taste in TV. Let me tell you, back in the day, you would have watched the stories.
No,
you might still.
Actually,
The stories.
on a previous midday show we were on, we watched Young and the Restless every day. I bet you can guess who it was with.
Was it Buck Rising?
Yes.
Buck Rising watches soap operas?
We had soap operas on every day.
Oh, that tracks.
But we couldn't listen to them, obviously.
No,
so we would
no.
play a game every day guessing what was going on.
Yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, you can probably
It was
do
really
that.
funny. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, Belle Kay, Headless Belle, at one time or another would watch some of those soap operas during the middle of the day. It's my understanding they're still, but you know what we've done? We've traded those types of soap operas for better produced soap operas in the evening. That's what 911 is.
Yeah.
I mean, 911 wherever the first one said or 911 now, it's just a soap opera.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's cool.
Just big old soap opera, Connie Britton's character, hooking up with dudes, half her age.
See,
Yeah.
Ken's seen the show. That's a deep plot point, Ken.
Yeah. In the first season of it, just regular 911, man.
Ken is a dedicated viewer back here.
Jackson's
I didn't
just
even
happy to
remember
have
that happened.
Ken Jackson's just happy to have an ally right now.
Yeah, well, Connie Britton's character, man, she was hooking up with Buck. It was a young firefighter.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Well, I don't know what we're talking about.
I'll have a full review of everything tomorrow.
Okay, very good. I look forward to that. Well, I'm sure that it's a wonderful night of television watching. I will not be partaking in much of any of that because I have other crap to pack. Because we closed on the house. Thank you guys for your kindness.
That's way to go. That's way to go, Brother Murphy.
Yeah, we got the place. We're down in Mount Pleasant. I'm going to love it down there. Small town politics. I absolutely love it. By the way, can I just tell a quick story? We're getting to the news of the day. Listen, I've got a full-throated monologue on Minneapolis coming up in mere seconds. You're going to want to stay tuned for that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm not putting up with any of this crap. This is garbage, what's going on in America today, and we're going to talk about it. So, but I've got to say hello and thank you. I'm supposed to do this at 4 o'clock. So, Jackson, will you please produce the program today? Unlike other days, would you mind reminding me at some point after 4 o'clock to say this again? But we met, so we went into the electric office to get the electricity in our name. And apparently I have mentioned that we're going to Mount Pleasant on a couple of occasions on the radio station. And there were 3 lovely ladies behind the glass at the electric company, the Mount Pleasant Electric. And one of them, I could tell, had an advanced interest in my entry into the little lobby area. She had more of an interest. You could tell. And so I strike up a conversation with one of the ladies, Brittany, I believe. No, she wasn't Brittany. She was Crystal. Crystal was her name. And then Erica is talking to this other lady. And at some point, the other lady says, "Is he on the radio?" And her name is Mama Lisa.
Mama Lisa.
I was told to call her. She begged me to call her Lisa. I was told by everyone else in the office that I was required to call her Mama Lisa, so I'm going to go with that.
You better do that. They're controlling your utility bill.
That's exactly right. But Mama Lisa and her husband listen to the show every day when she gets off of work, and I think her husband's on the front porch right now listening. That's where she said he listened.
All right.
So thank you, Mama Lisa, and thank you, husband, to Mama Lisa for listening to the show. So we had a good time, and I said, did you know what I looked like? And she said, "No, I've just been asking every man that walked in here if they were on the radio." She said, "I knew you said you were coming in today to do your electricity." And I said, "You've asked everyone that walked in?" She said, "Yeah, I've asked everyone. Are you on the radio? Are you on the radio? Are you on the radio?" She said, "But when you walked in, I knew that was you." So,
did she give you a sneak peek on when internet is making it to Mount Pleasant?
Internet is in Mount Pleasant. Thank you very much. I'm getting a gigabyte. Is that a lot of bytes? I think that's a lot of bytes.
I don't know.
You mean gigabit?
Is that? I think it's
different.
I think it's gigabyte.
I thought it's gigabyte.
Is it gigabit?
Gigabit internet is good internet. Gigabyte internet is really bad internet. So you're in Mount Pleasant, so I'm guessing gigabyte.
Okay, maybe it is gigabit. I don't know. Am I saying it wrong?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I hope for your sake.
For my sake, I'm saying it wrong. I asked, but I told him I had to have the Mac Daddy because if there's storms or whatever, we got to have the home studio. You know how it goes, Ken.
Oh, yes, sir.
And there might be storms because tomorrow, y'all, might get bad tomorrow.
Nah, it's not going to.
You don't think so, Ken?
Not here.
No? Okay, well, that's good news.
What's the real feel going to be?
I don't know what the real
Why
feel's
you got to
gonna be.
poke the bear so much?
Because you weren't here yesterday, and I didn't get to do it yesterday.
Oh, so you're just catching up.
Brother Jackson's been holding.
So he's been holding it in.
He's been holding on, boy.
So the story I want to tell you. So we go to all the utilities: gas, water, sewer, and sanitation is handled by the city of Mount Pleasant, which is nice. One stop to do all of those things.
Yes, sir.
And the electric is the only thing handled by the Mount Pleasant Electrical Service. So we go into we go into the city hall to get everything transferred over to our name. And I'm going to post this on my website or on my my X machine site, at Matt Murphy Show. If you're not following me, you're doing it wrong, at Matt Murphy Show. But I'll show you guys watching on YouTube television or YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, or Rumble. This was a sign on the glass of the Mount Pleasant City Hall place where, you pay your utilities. And there's a sign. You can see it there. Am I positioning that correctly, Jackson? Help me out there. Is that good? Does that look good? Okay. I'm going to read it to you. So it's an official little sign.
Is it handwritten?
No, it's official. I mean, it's got the seal in the background and everything. It says, notice, we will no longer accept more than 20 coins for payment for any amount due to the city of Mount Pleasant. We apologize for any inconvenience.
They kept getting hay pennies.
No. So Erica noticed it, and she poked me, and she said, you got to take a picture of this. And so I did. And then Miss Brittany came back to the window, and she was handling everything. And I said, Brittany, there has to be a story behind this, right? She said, yeah. She said, we have a customer. He's an older gentleman, and his water bill got up to $60. And he was very, very angry about it and wanted us to do something about it. And we were trying to explain to him that we could not do anything about it. And she said, so he left. And y'all understand, Mount Pleasant's for like 5,000 people. It's a small, and I love it. I love everything about it.
I would too, man.
Love everything about it. I'm going to learn everybody by name, and I love everything about it. So she said he left City Hall, walked across the street to the one bank, got himself $60 in pennies, and unrolled them and walked back across the street to pay his water bill.
Wow.
And I'm like, man, come on. You're blaming. I mean, you're making these ladies work, and, it's not their fault. Go to a city council meeting if you're that angry about your water bill.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
So did they take it?
I think they took that payment, but that initiated the new rule that they will no longer accept more than 20 coins per water bill payment or per any payment. So I said, well, is he still? And he goes, they say, no, he's still a customer. She said, but now he pays by check. And when he writes his check, in the memo feature, he writes in big letters, extortion. I don't get him. Don't you take that crap, sir. I bet he's a Matt Murphy listener.
I bet you he is.
I guarantee he is. Because we're on top of this water situation out of Columbia. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on with Scott Sapicki. That's at 4 o'clock today. We will also speak with Senator Jack Johnson about the upcoming session. The regular session is happening next week, believe it or not.
Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah, next Tuesday. So we'll have Jack on at 5:05 to preview that, to find out what we can expect out of that session, and to give us an explainer on an issue that several of you have reached out to me and asked me to cover, and it involves Governor Bill Lee's decision not to accept $84-ish million in EBT money. This is federal grant money that would come to the state of Tennessee to provide meals for, quote, underprivileged kids during the summer months. So we're going to talk about that as well a little bit later on, too. We'll get to Brink Fiddler at about 3:35. He's going to break down police procedure and police policy when it comes to people using deadly weapons against the police. But I want to speak on that for just a moment here. We had a woman was killed Wednesday. And I'm sad that she made a series of decisions that led to her death. But that is precisely what happened. I am further saddened that we have reached a point in politics in the United States of America that you have elected officials that are actively encouraging the type of behavior that could potentially lead to people getting shot and killed, which is exactly what Democrats are doing. And I frankly have no time nor any inclination toward giving both sides balance on any of this garbage. There is no balance here. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is a division of the executive branch of the federal government of the United States of America. And they are legally allowed only to do that which will enforce the laws that have been passed by the representatives of the United States government in the House of Representatives and in the United States Senate, and signed by presidents, past presidents of the United States of America. If you liberals are so upset with our current immigration law, I would suggest to you that you get out and you mount a campaign and you win a damn election and you get some laws changed. Otherwise, would you mind, if you don't mind, would you stop telling people that it is acceptable to do these types of things that impede upon the ability of legal law enforcement to enforce the laws that have been legally passed by the government of the United States of America? Would you mind? Is that too much to ask? That you do not put weak-minded people in harm's way as a result of your dangerous rhetoric? How much of this garbage do we have to listen to you talk about? You almost got a presidential candidate assassinated, and you never paused with your dangerous Hitler-type rhetoric regarding that political campaign and this current president of the United States of America. And oh, by the way, while I got these rant pants on, is it too much for the mainstream media to stop calling it Trump's immigration policy? Y'all follow me here. I don't think it's too far of a leap. Even those of you listening in Aniana can understand this. This is not Donald Trump's immigration policy. This is immigration policy that has been on the books for decades. Donald Trump has balls enough to enforce it. And it's not my fault that Joe Biden didn't follow the law, and it's not my fault that Barack Obama didn't follow the law, and it's not my fault that George W. Bush didn't follow the law, and it's not my fault that Bill Clinton didn't follow the law, and it's not my fault that George H.W. Bush didn't follow the law. And it's not Donald Trump's fault either. This is not Donald Trump's immigration policy. This is the immigration policy of the United States of America. You are not permitted to be in or stay in our country if you did not follow the legal channels to get here. And if you have done so, you have to be removed. And I am sad to note that over 4 years of the Biden administration, we allowed millions and millions and millions of people to flood the zone. And so sadly, it's going to be a rough ride for the next couple of years getting people that ought not to be here out. But that is consistent with the policies of the United States of America. And why in the world? Well, maybe leftist Democrats got accustomed to the idea that Republicans just don't have the intestinal fortitude, the cojones, if you will, to actually follow the law. This guy will. This president will. So would you stop with, Trump administration immigration policy is causing all of this undue stress in inner city communities, and it's causing a great amount of stress amongst those undocumented. What are y'all talking about? If you don't like the law, change it. The great Scott Jennings on CNN said it so well the other night, and I have the clip, and I'll play it for you in a minute. I'm late right now. If I don't like my tax bill come tax time, does that give me permission to drive my car into the United States Treasury? Is it justified to do that because I don't like the amount I'm paying in taxes? Or maybe, just maybe, I should work locally on the state level and on the federal level to see people elected that would change tax policy and lower my tax rate. Maybe that's the way to do it. I'm not happy that Renee Good is dead. I'm not. But she's dead because of her own sad decision-making. We're going to talk more about that coming up in just a few moments. I'm taking your telephone calls on it all day. I've got a lot more to say about it, but I'm out of time. It is 26 after the hour. We'll get back to it next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Man, yeah, let's bring it on in here. I just put my headphones on and I hit my head where I got a big knot. Somewhere. It's a good one, Jackson.
I like this one.
You know the background of this song?
Yeah, it was from the Comeback Special. I told you, I've seen the movie.
Yeah, I guess they do go over that in the movie because they hand me why. I'm gonna have trouble doing a talk radio show with this going on. All right, let's calm it down. Let's not get too crazy yet. Boy, but at the end of this, he goes off, baby. There's the king. He would have been, by the way, 91 years of age today. 91.
Just a few years younger than you.
I mean, he might be 91. You never know. I think, Ken, you and I have talked about, I believe this was predating Jackson. You and I have talked about that Elvis is Alive DVD that I got in the mail years ago. We popped that in and watched that thing.
Yeah.
And some fellas did a Freedom of Information Act, and they got a bunch of redacted material. Yeah. And it's like, and they get it, and they open it up, and it's still wet. The ink's still wet, and they go, "Ooh, if we wipe this off, we can see the redactions." And they do that, and they get an address, and they go to the address, and there's a pink Cadillac sitting in the front. And they interview the king.
The king, baby. Have you seen his car over at the Country Music Hall of Fame?
Oh, no, I don't think I have.
Yeah, got his old car where he's got a telephone in the back seat.
Ooh, Lord have mercy. That's fancy.
Yes, sir.
That was fancy. When Elvis went to the movies,
he's calling people.
Well, that's right. I mean, and he would go to the movies in the middle of the night so that he could go to the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I bet it was nice.
Big old deal. Yeah, just all by himself, buttered popcorn. Yeah, nice. The King would have been 91 today. We'll get to Brink Fiddler coming up in just a second. 615-737-9986 if you'd like to be a part of the show. 615-737-9986 via telephone, super text line. I'll calm down. I had my rant back. Look, folks, I get very frustrated. The police, obviously, when law enforcement, when they engage bad people or when they engage people generally and things go wrong, it can become deadly. And they have a very, very difficult job. And let's not lose sight of that. I would expect that the ICE officer that felt the need to discharge his weapon and to fire at Renee Good, pardon me, I would expect that he feels worse than anyone. He had to kill someone because he felt that his life was in danger. Let's talk to our man, Brink Fiddler. He's with Defense Systems, but he spent a good amount of time on the Metro Nashville Police Department, police force, and he has a thought or two, I am certain, about proper police procedure and tactics when it comes to the use of deadly force. It's always good to have an expert like Brink on the show with us. Brink, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, Matt. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope everything's going well for Defense Systems at the beginning of the year. Y'all rolling like gangbusters?
Yeah, we've been on the road pretty much since the beginning of the year. Still are. So
well, I mean, you know what I always say is that I wish the world would become the type of place where you'd have to find a different line of work, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. You know what I'm saying?
I do, yes, sir. Unfortunate job security.
Talk to me about without leading the witness in any particular direction, Brink. Talk to me about your reaction to what happened yesterday morning.
Same as you, tragic, but at the end of the day, the suspect who ended up losing their life is the one that dictated the actions of the officers. And I believe I read that I think it was her brother-in-law that said that came out right after the shooting and said she should have basically been staying out of it, for lack of a better way to say it. And so, it's tragic, obviously, when anybody loses their life, and it's really tragic for the officer too, because as you just mentioned, I mean, he had to take a life. I mean, thankfully I never had to do that, but I can't imagine what that feels like. So it's obviously tragic that it happened, but at the end of the day, there's nothing pretty about police work. It's just that now everybody sees it, right? It's always been ugly, but just in the world we're in today, with everybody having a camera in their hands 24/7 and body cameras, it's now just being put in front of the public. But it's never been pretty. It's always been an ugly thing. But now people can play Monday morning quarterback a lot easier.
No, I mean, and this is not new with regard to how police interact with individuals in motor vehicles. I was a part of a protest in Montgomery, Alabama. I had just started my radio show in Montgomery in 2000. It was summer or fall of 2000. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I'd only been doing the radio for about 6 months at that point. And a woman was being pursued by police, and she went down into a cul-de-sac and turned her vehicle around in the cul-de-sac, and the police kind of barricaded her in the cul-de-sac, and then a couple of officers got out of their vehicles and approached her vehicle in an attempt to get her out of the vehicle and get her arrested, right? She had stolen a car, and she hit an officer with her vehicle, and she got killed. And there was a tremendous protest. Oh, my God, they killed a woman in cold blood, et cetera, et cetera. And eventually, obviously, the officer was completely exonerated because, and I guess we need to establish this, a vehicle is obviously a deadly weapon. Correct, Brink?
100%. And it doesn't even have to be deadly. I mean, what the law says is you have to be able to articulate a genuine fear of serious bodily injury or death, right? And serious bodily injury can be defined as broken bones, asphyxiation, all sorts of things. So I would say anybody lunging a vehicle towards a human body is at a minimum a fear of serious bodily injury. But to me, it'd be death, obviously, because pedestrian versus vehicle, how many times do you see the pedestrian win?
Does the training from department to department, in your experience, or from agency to agency, does the training change significantly regarding how you deal with these types of situations?
It does vary, believe it or not, agency to agency. At the end of the day, it's about a couple of things. One, can the officer articulate it? There's two schools of thought, and one less popular, in my opinion, as far as law enforcement concerned, is that people have said in the past, well, are you going to stop that vehicle by firing into it? I mean, the answer is maybe I'm not going to stop the vehicle, but am I going to stop the driver's actions? I know that if I'm doing something in my vehicle and I'm driving towards something, and whatever I'm driving towards starts sending rounds through my windshield, that's going to change my behavior. That's going to change everything I'm doing because there's rounds coming through the windshield at me. So to say that it doesn't change the suspect's behavior, I think personally is an asinine statement. However, is it going to stop that vehicle from continuing to go forward? The answer is no, but it's maybe going to stop that driver's actions from being able to hurt anyone else besides just that one officer that was placed in that spot of danger. Now, another school of thought is try not to place yourself in front of the vehicle. I get that 100%. You try not to do that, but in the heat of the moment, and you're just trying to make an arrest and get the attention of the driver, make eye contact with them, give them verbal commands, all those sorts of things. Well, is it easier to give verbal commands and make eye contact with the driver from the front if that's the way they're facing? The answer is yes. You may not be able to get them to look at you looking out your window. So there's nothing perfect about any scenario, but at the end of the day, the officer that is in fear is the one making the decision, again, based on the suspect's actions, though.
I received a message on the super text line, and I'm just going to read you the message and allow you to respond to it. I know how I would respond to it, but I'm not the one that's been trained like you have, Brink. 9860 writes in and says, the first shot was justified. The second two were unnecessary.
Okay, so I equate it like this. If I'm a police officer and I'm on a call and I encounter a person who pulls a gun on me and I start the process of being able to defend myself, right? I.e., I draw my weapon, I come up and I start sending rounds towards that bad guy. After I fire the first round, if the suspect drops the weapon, you're supposed to tell me that my brain is supposed to process that in 0.0003 seconds and not fire the second and third shot. That's insane to me. But again, this is if you've never been in that situation, then I understand how you could draw conclusions like that maybe. But I've been in that situation, right, where I had to make decisions under split seconds, and your brain and your body can't communicate that fast with each other under stress, especially when your life's in danger and all you're trying to do is preserve your life and the life of other people. So I understand where they're coming from, but I don't think that argument holds any water at all until you've been put in that situation.
Well, and I also think it goes to your original point, and I've tried in my unlearned position to make this point about law enforcement because I know enough members of law enforcement. I've spoken with them enough to understand that what they have to do on a day-to-day basis is oftentimes very unpleasant. And us watching that unpleasant nature of the job that law enforcement do, that doesn't mean that what they're doing is illegal. That doesn't mean that what they're doing is wrong. That means that sometimes when they're dealing with really, really bad people that are willing to harm other citizens, that the police have to do things in order to facilitate an arrest immediately or to put other people out of harm's way and their fellow officers out of harm's way. And that sometimes means taking down perpetrators in a very rough manner, even, dare I say, a violent manner. Sometimes that means having to use deadly force to prevent the loss of life from a police perspective or from a citizen's perspective.
That's correct, and you said it best. It's unpleasant to the average person. The only difference is now that we're seeing it. Police work itself, I mean, what they have to do every day hasn't changed. It's just now you see it because it's all on video everywhere. And so in order for a society to be truly free, I mean, you have to have good men that are willing to be more violent than the violent offenders, right? I mean, it's kind of a conundrum, but it's true. So if we want to meet force with force, which is really the only answer to a perpetrator that's trying to use force against us or an innocent third party, then we have to use force to stop that person. And again, when is that ever pretty? When is that ever pleasant to watch? I mean, the answer is never. It's just the general public is not used to seeing this stuff, and now that we see it every single day, it's more quote unquote shocking. But those of us that have done this job and done it for so long, it's what we did every single day. The difference is you just see it now.
I'm reminded of another situation that happened in the metro area of Birmingham, Alabama, a number of years after that one that I related to you out of Montgomery. This was probably 2008, maybe 2009. I might have my years wrong, but it was in Hoover where there was a high-speed chase. An individual, I think, had stolen a vehicle. He was wanted for a number of crimes. He was eluding police. They had put down spike strips. He had tried to run over a couple of officers. I mean, it was bad. It was just a bad deal. And he eventually got on 459, which was an interstate there outside of the city, and he flipped his van. And in the process of flipping the van as they were in pursuit, he flew out of the vehicle. And so officers descended upon him, and they facilitated a takedown. Well, it turned out that he was unconscious. And so they made they put 5 officers on trial. For use of force unnecessary and for all of these types of things, and they were eventually exonerated. And I've had many of the officers on my show during the time to say what they could about the case at the time that it was going on. But this hindsight mentality that we are to expect officers to know that a violent perpetrator that has already attempted to kill police officers is not unconscious. I mean, they have no idea of knowing in that split second what's going on. And his hands were underneath him. And for those who have not watched the video, you can see it online. His hands were underneath him, and they were screaming at him to get his hands out from underneath him. And he wasn't doing it because he was unconscious. And so they took him down. And they used techniques that look very, very awful. I mean, I'm not sugarcoating it. The techniques that have to be used are not pleasant to watch. That's the best way that I can put it. But, I mean, as you well know, Brink, sometimes they are necessary to make sure that officers' lives and the people that are around the situation's lives are safe.
Right, and if you wait to act as an officer, right, if you wait to act to be sure, then that could be the difference in you going home or not. And that's what people don't understand. Until you've walked a mile in their shoes, like, you got to understand what they're up against, and pretty much every time you go on a call, you have to assume that somebody there is either wanting or willing to kill you. And if that's what you deal with 8.5 or 10 hours a day, then your perspective on every single call and what every single person does is different. And I understand everybody's had a bad experience with a cop, right? Me too, whatever. But you got to think, does anybody call the police because they're having a good day? I mean, obviously the answer is no. And then there's another thing they drove home to us in the academy is every single call you go on and every single traffic stop you make, there's at least one gun involved, right? And it's on your hip. So if you think there are people that aren't willing to try and take that from you to keep their freedom, as police officers, you're given two of the most powerful, I guess, powers in society, right? The power to take somebody's life and the power to take somebody's freedom. And if you don't think there are people that are willing to kill you to keep you from doing that, you're deadly wrong. So if that's how you go to work every day and you strap on a firearm and a bullet-resistant vest, then, your perspective on life is going to be very different than most people who are sitting back watching this thing on YouTube or TikTok or whatever they're watching it on today. Until you're standing in front of that car and your life is in danger, it's going to be hard for you to justify your opinion. I'm not saying you can't have an opinion, but I think they need to look at it through a different lens before the people start jumping on the police.
And that does not mean that we ought not to monitor the police and to make sure that they're doing the things the right way, the way they should be doing them. I think we have a better ability of doing that today because of the number of cameras, because of the body cameras that most police departments initiate and use. And I'm glad that that's out there because but sadly, that also creates this emotional response from people that don't want to think rationally about what a police officer is going through in that millisecond of time when he has to make that deadly force decision. Real quick before I have to say goodbye, Brink, so someone has written in and says, so according to Brink, once a cop starts shooting, and I don't think this is what you said, by the way, once a cop starts shooting, that cop isn't responsible to stop shooting if the threat has ceased? And that's not what you said.
Not what I said at all. I talked about how long it takes from the brain to talk to the body before you're able to stop the actions that you've started with. So, if you put a stopwatch on how fast he fired those 3 rounds, it's under a second. So, I mean, just do some research on how long it takes your body and your brain to react. Here's a great example that, there's a reason when you're in traffic, they teach you to be 1 car length for every 10 miles an hour, right? There's science behind that and how long it takes your brain to process what it's seeing and talk to your body to activate your brake. The exact same thing goes with your trigger finger. So, I understand what they're getting at, but that's not what I said. What I'm saying is it takes longer than you think to process and make a decision based on that. Had he emptied an entire mag or continued to shoot over and over and over again, then we'd have a totally different thing to talk about. But he didn't. Right. He fired, I think it was 3 rounds total in under a second in defense of his life. I have no issue with that.
Brink, always great to catch up with you. I appreciate your expertise, appreciate everything you do for the community, and we'll talk again soon, my friend.
Yep, sounds great. Thanks.
All right, take care. There's Brink Fiddler with Defense Systems. Go to defensesystems.com to find out more about his wonderful organization. 56 after the hour on Super Talk.